E raurangatira mā, tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou I tēnei rā, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. So yes, as Corinne has mentioned, my name is Miriana Stephans, and I do come from the best two places in Aotearoa, New Zealand, where I'm from Tauranga Moana, Ngaitirangi, Ngāti Ranginui descent, and also from the metropolis of Motueka, not too far away from here, where I'm of Ngāti Rārua. My father has Scottish ancestry, and he's a Pākehā farmer from Taranaki. And I grew up and was raised in Motueka by my grandparents. They were farmers and grew probably the best two crops at the time, hops and tobacco. And they really had a motto of service, and it was an honour to serve. So really I've been brought up, if service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. I'm currently an owner and director of Wakatū Incorporation, and I didn't end up being a director by accident, but have come through our scholarship, associate director programs, which is really succession, mentoring and leadership by design. I'm now serving my 9th year as a director, and in my 3rd year as executive director of innovation. And I also know that one of our associate directors, Jim McMillan, will be here throughout the conference over the next 3 days, and he is, of course, the owner of the True Honey Company. So I just really wanted to thank Corinne and Bruce for the invite to come and speak. I am the second cab off the rank in terms of my cousin Rachel Tolale, who's the CEO of Kono New Zealand. She was asked to speak, but is currently up on the Prime Minister's Scholarship at Stanford University in Palo Alto. So it is with absolute pleasure that I'm able to be here today to share a little bit about our journey as an entity, what Kaitiakitanga means to us, and of course we are fairly active in the honey industry with owning hives and a program of work happening here in Te Tauihu, the top of the south. So as I mentioned, it's an absolute privilege to be here on behalf of our families, our staff and the board of Wakatū. Now, over the next few minutes, I could actually share our journey with you about Wakatū, but I come from a rather large extended family. There's 4,000 of us. We don't all live in Motueka. And because the next generation's a little bit tech savvy, we actually prepared a short video because last year we celebrated a major milestone in our history. We're 40 years young, no treaty settlement, and here's a little bit about our story. And I hope this is going to work.
Te tiro whakamuri hei arahi I ngā uaratanga kei te kimihia.
In 2017, we celebrate 40 years of Wakatū Incorporation. But our history, journey and connection to this land Te Tauihu goes back many hundreds of years. We are the people of the heke, the people of the migrations.
At the heart of our story is movement, migration, exodus.
We are travellers, navigators of the ocean and the land.
In centuries past, we arrived here in a series of epic migrations. They are central to our identity.
We are the people of the heke, the people of the migrations.
Landing on the shores of Te Tauihu in the early 1800s, our families came from the four iwi of Ngāti Koata, Ngāti Rārua, Te Atiawa and Ngāti Tama. In this region, our families flourished. We were resourceful and entrepreneurial. Trade and export has always been central to our story. But it wasn't to last. Within decades, we became alienated from the lands that once connected and sustained us. Our situation was grim. The future, bleak.
With no connection to their land and economic opportunities denied, many of our families moved away from Te Tauihu. 1970s signalled a decade of change and hope. In the early 70s, a commission of inquiry into Māori reserved land led to options being offered to Māori landowners. Over a number of hui, options for Te Tau Ihu were debated and explored. After much discussion, the decision was made to establish Wakatu Incorporation as the entity to manage our lands and legacy. So the owners became shareholders, receiving dividends from the incorporation instead of rent. The incorporation became one of the largest landowners in Te Tau Ihu. However, the existing Māori land lease legislation meant our ability to generate income from the land was limited. And while the establishment of the incorporation was positive, it was clear that not all the land were returned. The Nelson tenths were not whole.
The 1980s were a decade of establishment and development. The first freeholding applications for residential properties were approved. Investment in forestry, horticulture and commercial property followed. The board of the time was determined to invest in a future of growth, progress and sound returns. In 1989, the annual profit exceeded $1 million for the first time.
The 1990s were about consolidation, diversification and growth. We went into joint ventures in horticulture and fisheries with other like-minded organisations. In 1998, working with Enrate and the Wee Pere Trust, we established Tohu Wines, the world's first Māori-owned wine label.
Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, we fought against the injustice of the perpetual lease regime imposed on Māori landowners. Wakatu was determined to bring about change and lobbied against this unfair, restrictive regime. New legislation was enacted in 1998, which finally allowed Māori to set market rents for their own land. At the 1998 AGM, we celebrated 21 years of Wakatu. By the end of the 90s, we had a profit of just under $2 million.
The 2000s were about investment in people, reconnection and continued growth. We went from strength to strength, purchasing a vineyard in the Awatira Valley, buying a green shell mussel business and opening a trading office in China. To bring all our products under one banner, we launched our food and drinks brand, Kono. In the early 2000s, the scholarship, wānanga and the associate director programs were established. Hundreds of rangatahi have had their lives changed and improved through making connections with their whānau, land, history and legacy. Our goal of having more owners working for the incorporation is bearing fruit, with owners now working at every level of the organisation.
In February 2017, the long fight against the Crown saw a result in the Supreme Court. We gained acknowledgement that the Crown failed in its duty to reserve access for the customary owners to the Nelson Tenths land and other sites of importance to us. We continue to discuss restitution with the Crown. Today we are a family business, a business of families. Like our tupuna, we are gardeners, fishermen and traders, and send our award-winning wine, seafood, fruit and fruit bars with pride to people all over the world. Our tupuna were creative, astute and forward-thinking people who gifted us our land, whakapapa and cultural identity. It is our responsibility to preserve and enhance this taonga now for future generations.
We celebrate and recognise our past so that our future remains grounded in the values and hopes of our tupuna. Rangatiratanga, whanaungatanga, manakitanga, kaitiakitanga, hihiko and pono. We look to the future with pride, determination and optimism. We are the custodians of a legacy that stretches forward to the hands of those that will follow us. Nā tō rauro, nā tōku rauro ka ora ai te iwi. We are the families of Wakatu.
As you can see by the video, that after more than 120 years of patience, impatience, petitions, letters and court hearings, we can regain control of the remnants of our lands. And since then, we have reconnected and we've replenished the mauri, the life force of our tūranga waiwai, our home, the place where we feel connected and empowered. We have resumed the mantle of kaitiaki, the custodianship of our legacy, and we have diversified into a number of industries, the lifeblood of the economy in this region. We kono New Zealand, our love for the land, respect for the sea, exports our products to over 30 countries around the world. And how many of you in this room have actually tried tohu wines? Come on, I know Victor, you have. Yes, great, thank you. And we're really guided by Te Pai Tāwhiti. It's our 500-year intergenerational vision. And it really is our guide, it's our compass that ensures that we do the right thing, to live and breathe our purpose, which is to preserve and enhance our taonga, our legacy, for the benefit and future of current generations. So how do you get there? Because, I think 500 years seems such a long time to look into the future. So how we will get there is about what we will do. And we have a framework, we call that Hoia ki te Pai Tāwhiti, and it focuses on how we can make our aspirations realities across every aspect of our business, and it holds us to account in terms of the purpose that we serve. So our intergenerational outcomes, it really helps bring Te Pai Tāwhiti to life by describing the things that matter to us most. It enables us to set targets and measures that we ensure that we are moving forward on all things that are important to our owners and their families. So Kaitiakitanga for us therefore means ensuring the wellness of our people, our place, our planet and profit. And we articulate this under 5 intergenerational outcomes, which I really just wanted to take you quickly through with some examples. So our first intergenerational outcome is what we call ngākau hihiko. This means that we will bring passion, and energy and courage to the pursuit of our intergenerational vision. We venture beyond the horizon in a waka that is designed for the voyage in a way that enhances the mana of our legacy. An example of this is the development and implementation of the Wakatū Innovation Strategy, and we really have a focus on 2 particular projects or programs in that strategy. The first one is what we call whenua order. And that for us means that our people, our land and water is well according to our definition of wellness and our values. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that program shortly. And Roro, and that's our high value add program where we are investing in food and ingredient applications with scientifically validated health benefits which are aligned with consumer demand and our values. And underpinning both of these programs is an investment framework. We do have, I'm very, I guess it's probably a bit more for my purposes, but I do tell our team no pet projects, which is hard because I like to do a lot of stuff. But we have an investment framework, an extensive research and development framework around science and tech, and we are actually starting to take our science program international, market research and our market entry plans. And we're very big on building collaborative business models across the value chain. So we've invested in a lot of opportunities. Our sister trust has invested in berries, for example, metal, and we're also involved in Māori food and beverage clusters. Our second intergenerational outcome is taiao, and this is where we are active in ensuring our environment is healthy, able to support our way of life, native taonga species and our businesses. And this is really about our relationship to the environment, which is conceived as one whole. This is because our water and land are indivisible. In the respect of our environment, it must be well and healthy, full of life and vitality. This is not only because our land deserves to be healthy in its own right, but also because the wellness of our people is intrinsically linked to the well-being of our environment. When the land and water are sick, so are its people. So I've already mentioned our whenua order program. It's a 5-year program. We're currently into year 2 of it. And we've been developing our framework and methodology to assess the current state and wellness of our land. So really around our soils, our water. We've mapped all the waste streams across the group, including, when we go into new product development, what does that look like? There's a big push around packaging. And this will then also extend out in terms of our biodiversity, greenhouse gas emissions, and we are looking at programs and at a regional scale as well in terms of regenerative agriculture and the circular economy. And so when we have all this information, then we'll then put a program in place in terms of remediation and the action that's required for our lands and waterways. At the same time, we're also conducting a literature review, data review of our catchment areas. We don't see ourselves operating in isolation. We are part of a wider community. So what does good look like? And how can we help each other get to that level? And we've also started, as I mentioned, gathering in those data sets, both internal, external. We've started to put sensor networks on our farms. We've got a project happening in our vineyards here over in the Awatere. And that really is an opportunity for us to have a look at lifting our production efficiencies and really start to report to our boards in terms of how we are approaching Kaitiakitanga and as well to our families. We've also mapped our Indigenous organisms across the rohe, and what we mean by Indigenous organisms is around our flora and fauna, insects, marine species, fungi, and that was really around also gathering our intelligence. When you saw our story, our people have been prolific letter writers, evidence keepers. So when you have a look at our historical record, there's a lot of information around farming practices, traditional farming practices, around our mātauranga Māori, our knowledge, and we've been able to have interviews with our whānau, pull all that information together into a central database. And I guess we did that project for a couple of reasons, because we really want to reconnect our families back to their whenua, back to their land, but also because in terms of intellectual property, it is a big kaupapa, big topic for us, which has led us into supporting a national conference that we're hosting, Ngā Taonga Tuku Iho, Māori Cultural Intellectual Property Rights. It'll be held in Nelson from the 16th to the 18th of September. And we're really supporting the conference because I think you see a good example of what's happened with Māori language around the use of mānuka. I know that you guys will be in the next couple of days discussing around appellation, geographical indicators, the mānuka brand. And we believe as Māori, as New Zealanders, as citizens of this country, we really haven't protected well our intellectual property rights as a country. So I guess it's about starting having those conversations around flora and fauna, the Waitangi Tribunal 262. So we're certainly wanting to have those discussions, and we believe as a nation we can start to have that. Our third intergenerational outcome is papa whenua for us, is it's about retaining our ancestral lands that are sacred to our people and making sure that we maintain and grow our geographic footprint within our region. We're not going anywhere, and we do want to make sure that we have that footprint here in our rohe. And we're also very keen on working with like-minded groups in terms of our work programs. Our fourth intergenerational outcome is around whānau. We need to make sure that we are connected to our history, our legacy and our purpose. And our people want to be here because our actions hold true to our values. Our people and culture are everything to us. We can build the biggest empire in the world, but it's nothing without the people. And I guess as our cultural and the economic future of Wakatu grows, we need confident, experienced, passionate and committed people to guide our development and protect our assets. So we've actively invested in our people through numerous programs and projects, as well as our extended community. And our final intergenerational outcome, which is equally important, is pūtea. We will maintain sustainable growth of our capital base, and the profit and the cash flow that we generate enables us to achieve our aspirations. So you heard on the video in 1977, when we were formed, it was a collaborative model because our families put all their lands together. When we started, we had an asset base valued at 11 million, and today we have grown that over $300 million, and we're building our portfolio slowly. So our investment, our risk framework and our business models moving forward are really important to us. So I guess I just really wanted to end. We know that many New Zealand companies are exploring the concept of sustainability, and Kaitiakitanga is beginning to be used more and more in its place, in an attempt to describe our unique place in the world and the love that we have for our people, place the planet and our products. This is our message and our core value proposition as Māori and as New Zealanders. So I guess when I really think what makes us different as a business, it is our deep connection and commitment to tangata and whenua, people and land. We have embarked on a journey of deep introspection to determine what being a good kaitiaki custodian means to us, how we can learn from our past with the support of our people, our values, science and technology. We know that it'll mean something nuanced and different from what it may mean for us, particularly other Māori entities. And we don't yet know how it will impact on what we do, but we know it will, because this is inevitable and a welcome part of our growth and our improvement. We know that our people, our owners, our employees, communities, partners and customers around the world will be at the heart of our approach to Kaitiakitanga, as will our land and our water. Because quite simply, we cannot survive without each other. So I want to thank Karen and Bruce for inviting me here today to share a little bit about our story in relation to Kaitiakitanga, noting that we still have very much to learn and to do. And I really wanted to end my kōrero today with the following whakatauki, which I think resonates well with what I've presented today. Toi tū te marae a tāne, toi tū te marae a tangaroa, toi tū te iwi. If the world of tāne, all living things on land, are sustained, if the marae of tangaroa, the lakes, the rivers and the sea are sustained, so too is the future of humanity. Nō reira, e raurangatira mā, tēnā koutou, a tēnā tātou katoa.